Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
This is my third attempt at trying to make this video, and either it gets deleted or like the sound doesn't work, like weird glitches are happening. I don't know why. So I'm gonna try this again. So when I moved to Indiana with my family, I was about 8 years old. We moved into a house in a town called Sweetzer. And prior to this, like I didn't know that, like, I mean, I believe in ghosts now, but like at the time I didn't think ghosts were real. I thought it was just stuff in movies. Very religious family. So I was always told when you die, you go to heaven or hell, and that's it. So we moved to this house, and it started off with like, I would maybe hear somebody walking around upstairs where me and my brother's rooms were. I would see like shadows moving on the wall. As I got older, I always heard a child crying in the this one specific corner of my bedroom, like on the opposite side of where my bed was at. Every night I would hear a child crying. I would turn my music up all the way up as loud as it would go because I knew I was going to hear it, and it always scared me. But I think two of the more disturbing things that happened at this house actually happened to my little brother, and then after that, my dad. It was a lot more intense than anything I had experienced in terms of that sort of thing. So one night I was staying the night with my grandparents. They lived in the same town, just like on the other side of town. And my parents knew that I was going, like it had already been planned that I was going to stay with them that weekend, and my brother was going to stay at home because he was younger than me. And we just, siblings sometimes need space from each other, I guess. So my parents are in the room, which is on the ground floor of the house on the opposite side of where the staircase was that led up to me and my brother's room. And so they're in their bedroom, they're watching TV, whatever. They hear my brother start yelling from upstairs. And they're, wondering maybe he's playing. Is he being really loud? What's going on? So he busts into my parents' bedroom, and he's crying, he's yelling, he's like really upset. And he says, "Katie won't stop trying to scare me. Can you please tell her to leave me alone?" Now my parents know that I'm not home. So they kind of look at each other, and they look at my brother, and they're like, "What do you mean Katie's trying to scare you? Like, what do you mean by that?" Because they didn't want to tell him I wasn't home because they wanted to hear what he had to say first. So they didn't freak him out. And he said, "Katie keeps coming into the hallway with her blanket over her head, and she keeps staring at me. And every time I tell her to stop, she just keeps staring. And then she'll walk back into her bedroom, she'll come back out, and she'll just keep staring." And this freaked my parents out because up until this point, I was the one that spoke up about it the most. Sometimes my brother would say things, but we were always told it was our imagination, that we were seeing things, hearing things, whatever. So this did freak him out, and my dad told me about it when I came home. And of course I was like, "Why would you tell me that? I sleep in that room." So then fast forward, keep in mind that my brother saw my face, me. So fast forward to a few years from now, we're about to move out of this house. I think this was in like maybe the last month that we lived there that this happened. So my brother was sleeping in my room with me because he always said he was terrified of stuff in his closet. He heard things in his closet, which that's creepy enough as it is. So he would sleep in my room sometimes. And we're like 12, I'm 12 and he's like 9 at this point, I think. So my dad is downstairs, we're upstairs asleep, my mom is at work. My dad's sitting at the computer in the living room, and he feels like a tap on his shoulder, and he hears my voice say, "Hey, Dad." And he turns around, he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" Didn't think anything of it. And he turns around, there's nothing there. Immediately, the same second that he turns around and acknowledges what he thought was me, my dogs, I had 2 big dogs at the time, they freak out, they start barking, the fur on their spine is standing up about this much. They take off to one side of the room, they both look up at the ceiling, and then my dad said it was the freakiest thing, perfectly in sync. Their heads start moving. They see something, and then they go to the other wall, and they stare, and their heads are moving in sync. And then my door slams shut upstairs. So my dad books it up the stairs, see what's going on, like he's freaked out. He goes upstairs, he opens my bedroom door. My brother and I are both just sleeping. We had like a little mini DVD player thing on to watch movies because again, we didn't like when it was quiet at night because that's when you hear things. So he takes one of my boxes of stuff that was packed up for the move. He puts it in front of the door and he goes back downstairs. The second that he is off the stairs and back on the ground floor, my door slams shut again. He goes right back upstairs, opens my door. My brother and I are still sound asleep, and the box of stuff that he put in front of the door is on the opposite side of the room, spilled over. So he's really freaked out now. He calls my mom. He's like, "When are you coming home? Like, this is what's going on. I'm scared." And I don't think he actually told us about it until later. And to this day, I mean, this was like, gosh, I don't even know, like almost like 15, 16 years ago, maybe. And my brother doesn't remember anything. Like anytime I bring it up, we talk about the creepy things that happened. Like my dad remembers, my mom remembers, my brother's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like he completely blocked it out. But I think what sounds unbelievable, like when I talk to people about this, is like, I was young, my brother was young. They're like, maybe it was your imagination, maybe you were like processing trauma and, you know, whatever. But what makes me question it now is like, my brother saw my face, my dad heard my voice, and the more I learn about different supernatural things, the more it freaks me out because of, you know, mimics. And yeah, so it just freaks me out. Once we moved out of the house, nothing happened at our new house. Nothing's really happened actually to any of us since then. The house I live in now, sometimes I think I see stuff out of the corner of my eye. I might see shadows move around, but nothing that makes me feel unsafe. Nothing that seems to have like a negative presence, so I don't really think anything of it. But yeah, that to this day, anytime I think about that house, it gives me chills. And I don't know. I think I try to talk about it to people I trust, but people kind of look at me like I'm crazy. So I'm intrigued to see what you guys think about it.